Coming to you live on location, this is the Between the Benches podcast, where we will discuss anything and everything hockey related. Let's drop the puck and get the action underway.
All right, everybody, welcome into another episode of the Between the Benches podcast. As always, it's your host, Dak. Hope everybody is enjoying what unfortunately is coming to an end, Brock. I don't know if you've realized this or not. We only have 6 games of hockey left in the season, and then
hopefully 6.
And then life becomes meaningless. Like I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do with my life, but we are the Between the Benches podcast. We are Gramless tonight because that guy sucks. And we are, hell with that guy. He's got bad hockey takes anyway. But we are presented by Old City Sports Network. Make sure to check out oldcity.com for all of your, all of your flyers. Sorry, we got a chat already. All of your flyer, podcast, articles, everything in between. That's Old City Sports Network. And make sure to use the promo code Old City 15 for 15% off the merch. And we are Benches 15 for 15% off our merch store as well. But other than that, I have my Canadian colleague with me this evening. What's up, Cam Ward fan? I've got my colleague, Brock Canadetti, Big Finch. How are we? Big
Finch. 2 words that have never been put, next to each other when referencing anything other than my weight.
Right.
Or my attitude. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Always a pleasure, sir. Absolutely. Always a pleasure, as you know. What a great game of hockey we had tonight. I can't wait to get into it. You're right, though. It is a sad time to be, a hockey fan in some ways, because these are the best games of the year, but then everything falls off a cliff, or at least eventually falls off a cliff. It's more like July and August where it's really off a cliff. This is still the best time to be a hockey fan. June's the best. June's the best.
Yeah. I don't know. April's pretty good. It's tough to beat April. Playoff pushes are happening.
I agree. I have a bit planned for the off season that I haven't brought to your attention yet, so we'll leave that there. But I have thoughts on how April/May could be improved. I'll say that.
Starting the season earlier, I'm imagining.
No. It's more playoff related, if anything. Like how we won't get into it now.
Gotcha. Okay.
More of an off-season thing. All
right. Well, fair enough. Well, we're glad to have everybody with us. We have a couple people in the chat. Looks like we got some comments rolling in. Let's see here. I've been tracking the total goals to the playoffs on the little clicker. The goal number is now up to 496. Good. Wow. Nice stat. I like that. That's a nice stat.
Fun stat. I wonder, that'd be good to track for goals per game each year if you kept track of that year to year. Be curious to see which way that's trending, if it's trending any which way at all.
Heck yeah. Well, we're good to have you everybody in the chat. Shout out to everybody. You just saw the Edmonton Oilers win in overtime in Game 1, which we'll get to here in a second. But first we have to go Around the Rink. And Around the Rink is sponsored by or brought to you by IronSteelThreads.com. Make sure to check out all the great hoodies, shirts, apparel. They do new designs every month. Yeah, you were gone for a second. They have new designs every month. Yeah. They are made here in the States, and you can use the promo code OldCity10 for 10% off, and part of your proceeds or whatever you buy from the site goes to local youth hockey organizations. So people helping people. It's good to see. But with that being said, Brock, this happened very recently after our last podcast, but the Kraken announced that they hired Lane Lambert as their new head coach. I don't know if you knew too much about Lane Lambert, so let me give you a little bit of a rundown here. He was the head coach of the Milwaukee Admirals, hired in July of 2007, I do believe I have here. Yep, and then he was promoted to an assistant coach for the Predators in 2011. So he held that position for, 4 years, give or take. He was then brought over as an assistant coach to the Washington Capitals on their 2018 Stanley Cup run, and then he signed with the Islanders shortly thereafter. Obviously, the next season he signed with Barry Trotz to join the New York Islanders. So this man's been around some pretty stout head coaches, to say the least. He's seen some success. So, and after Torts got fired following the 2021-22 season, Lambert was actually promoted to the head coaching position. But he was shortly there let go early in January of that season, 2024, after a 19-15-11 record, and they were out of playoff contention. So first thoughts. Oh, last note, by the way, Lambert was a boy of yours. He was on the Toronto Maple Leafs coaching staff, hired June 5th of 2024. So he spent a little bit of time with the Maple Leafs as well. But as far as from the Kraken standpoint, does this move the needle for you? I mean, what was your first opinion of this hire?
You hinted at it when you said this guy's been behind, some stout coaching. He's seen the big guys do it. See, one would think that might help translate, but I'm not necessarily convinced after watching him be a head coach in New York on the island. He was good for the Leafs. I'm actually kind of sad to see him go. I believe he was the PK coach, if I'm not mistaken, and he did great work. They played a lot differently this year with
100%
on the PK. Now, from the Kraken perspective, and if I'm a Kraken fan as well, I don't know how I feel about this. This is now their third coach in 3 years. So I don't know, man. How many coaches is Ron Francis going to get? Oh, that's right. Probably at least another half dozen because he just got a promotion. Isn't he now president?
Yeah, I think he's.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't think it's the coach. I think this team is fundamentally flawed, and they need to really shake things up in a big way when it comes to how they're thinking about this team should be structured. Because what they're doing right now, it ain't it. I don't know, man. Unless they have something big planned for this offseason, this to me is just another – I don't want to say set up for failure because that feels a bit extreme and unfair. But in essence, I just don't think this does anything for me.
Nothing doesn't do the move.
I mean, there was that thing, I believe it was on 32 Thoughts that they were talking about when Patrick Waugh got hired. Coaches, when they get their second crack at the can, they seem to have their greatest success. So this is Lane Lambert's second crack at the can as a head coach. So if you're looking for a positive spin on it, I guess there's that. But that Seattle team does nothing for me. They are where you can't be in professional sports. Mediocrity. Right in the middle. Not good enough to contend, but not bad enough to get the stellar player in the draft that you so desperately need.
Yeah, they don't even tank well. You know what I mean? So they can't even tank correctly. No. What can they do? But that's a fair point. I guess we'll definitely see. To your point, he does seem to have a little bit of a special team savant about him.
Yes.
So we'll definitely see if that improves for the Kraken moving forward. So, and then real quick, the Penguins announced today that they are hiring Dan Muse. We will get Caden's thoughts on this as well, which I'll edit in later. But just to grab your quick thoughts on Dan Muse, he spent 5 seasons in the NHL as an assistant coach for the Rangers from 2023 to 2025, and then Nashville from 2017 to 2020. So 5 years in total, 2 different teams. Muse ran the penalty kill for Nashville, which was one of the top 5 units in the league during his time. He was with Nashville when they went to the Cup final, also helped the Rangers get to the Eastern Conference Finals a couple of years ago. He also began his coaching career in the college ranks. He coached Yale from 09 to 14. And so he had some other stops along the way, but that was kind of the big one. So he also has some experience with USA Hockey as well, serving as a head coach of the National Team Development Program from 2020 to 2023. He also was the head coach of the under 18 team in 2021 and 2022, earning a gold medal as well at the 2023 U18 championship. So when I first put this in our group chat, you were just kind of yawn, or kind of you were surprised kind of by the hire. Mm-hmm. After I did a little bit of reading, he does seem to have a little bit of, again, kind of that savantness, that specialty of special teams, especially penalty kill, from his degree of success. So the Penguins were one of the worst teams in the league last year in goals against. I don't know if that's got more to do with who's in net or if it's got more to do with who they have on the roster. But is this a step in the right direction, or is this more of a developmental coach, and then they're going to bring in the next coach behind him to hopefully take them on cup runs? So almost similar to what the Blackhawks are doing, or what people are saying the Blackhawks are doing.
I'm glad you brought up the Blackhawks, because that's exactly the comparison I was going to make. that I do think is a perfect comparison. I wouldn't expect much out of this. I cited Jeff Blashill in the last pod when we compared the Chicago Blackhawks situation to the Detroit situation when Blashill, in fact, took over for the Blackhawks. So it's kind of ironic how there was a direct connection with the actual coach, and this time there's no direct connection because I haven't heard much of anything about Dan Hughes. When you're hearing like the coaching carousel rumblings of people are interviewing this person, that person, whatever, usually you hear this guy's name in the crossfire. I don't remember, and my memory's shoddy at best, but I don't remember ever hearing this guy's name in any of these front office discussions for head coach. So I don't know what to make of this. What you just told me is about what I know about Dan Hughes. But if things are to be believed on the resume, I think he's trending in the right direction and has all the makings of a potentially really great coach. So I don't know, maybe Dubas is a genius. I'm not convinced, at least not just yet, but we'll see. We'll see.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm just going to stop you right there with the whole Dubas is a genius thing. So
I'm not saying he is. I have the benefit of hindsight when it comes to talking about Dubas. I get a little bit of a 2020 vision at it, I guess. I don't know. The man can't build a decor to save his life when you really think about it. This year's decor compared to the Dubas's decors, night and day.
Definitely something we could definitely approve upon, to say the least. So, well, fair enough. Well, I had that, and then the last thing I had on the docket here for Around the Ring to wrap us up before we get into tonight's game was the NHL awards are starting to become announced.
Yes.
The two that we have known so far, the Selke Award is going to be renamed. I'm telling you, eventually they're going to rename it either the Patrice Bergeron Award or the Alexander Barkov Award or Sasha Barkov. Sasha's probably a little shorter, so maybe they'll put that on the trophy. But yeah, he is announced the award winner, Sasha Barkov. I believe he became the sixth person in history to win 3 Selkies or more, right?
And the list the other 5.
Yeah, go ahead. Would you want to? I know one of your favorite.
I don't have it in front of me, but I know Datsuk's on that list.
Nice. Okay, so we got Datsuk. Let me pull it up here just a second. I just had it. Maybe. This is great. This is great podcasting. Oh, here we go. Okay, so I got Pavel Datsuk. And why are you going to have me do this? We know that I suck at pronouncing these
Why
names.
do you think I made you do this?
So you have Patrice Bergeron, Pavel Datsuk.
Barkov.
Oh, God. Obviously, Alexander Barkov. We have Bob Gainey. We have Guy Carbano. See. And then you have Yuri Lehtinen.
Yuri
Lehtinen. See, I was close. All right. Well, see, we're getting better.
That was good.
We're getting better. Yeah, we're getting better.
Guy is Guy. It's a French name. Guy.
Yeah. Well, he did play for the Canadians, which would make a lot of sense.
Sure
does. But yeah, those are your 3 or your 6 individual gentlemen to win 3 or more Selke awards. I imagine Barkov's going to win this at least one more time before he retires, if not 2 or 3 more. We'll definitely see. He might get beat over. He might, if anything, his biggest competition is his teammate.
Sure.
So
is.
We'll definitely see what happens. And then the other award that was brought to our attention was the Ted Lindsay Award, and that is being awarded to Nikita Kucherov. Any surprise there from your end?
No, he had a good year. He was in the Hart mix. When I saw that, I was definitely more curious about who's going to win the Hart. I think that's interesting because that's voted on by the media. I forget which parts of the media. I know it's labeled every year, and they disclose their votes after the fact. So we can sort and figure that out later. But I am curious to see who wins the Hart now. They're apparently supposed to be doing a hour-long special before Game 4, revealing whatever awards they don't reveal between now and then. It'll be the rest of the awards. So the idea, I'm going to save this because this is my C this week, so I'm going to save this explanation. But
nice.
They're doing it differently this year, and so far I think they're hitting all the high notes.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Fair enough. No, I completely agree. I don't want to take your C thunder because I think I know where you're going with that. So, well, we will go ahead and transition. We might have a guest join us, by the way, on this podcast. So we'll keep your eyes open for that. Eventually, it's just going to pop up on your screen. It's going to be really funny. But we'll get into Panthers and Oilers Game 1. By the way, this is brought to you by decalsbyaaron.com. Make sure to check out our buddy Aaron, and he makes decals. I don't know if you could tell that by the domain, but you do now. Shout out to Aaron. Let him know that your friends at Between the Benches sent you over, and he'll get you taken care of. But we have to get into the result tonight for game one. And ironically, we have a homer with us this evening.
Oh, he did get back to you.
We have
look at this guy.
We have joining us just
Nice.
in time to talk about Panthers and Oilers. We have the one, the only Mike Napolitano joining us. Mike, how are you this evening?
I am riding high, boys. Holy moly!
Wow,
what
nice
a
orange
play.
shirt you have
Oh
on.
yeah.
Oh yeah. I just threw whatever on.
First of all, and my other question is, why couldn't you join us live from the ice bath that you were sitting in? That was my other question.
Listen, it smelled like skunk out there. I live on a soccer field, so there must have been a creature out there roaming around, and there's all this fog, all this haze because of the change of the temperature. So it looked really creepy out there. I want to start my haunted house, but no, I was chattering in the ice bath. I went to the gym for 2 hours, and then I delayed my ice bath because overtime was on. I was like, that can wait, you know.
Okay.
Of course. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Well, we're happy to have you.